Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today we're joined by Dino Watt to talk about the Doctor Event Blueprint, a system designed to help doctors create engaging, high-impact events that strengthen patient relationships and drive business growth. We'll dive into common event planning mistakes, key elements of successful events, and simple strategies to make any practice event more effective. If you're ready to take your events to the next level, this episode is for you. Let's get started. This episode was brought to you by ADEC. Hey docs, on this podcast, I talk about a lot of different ways you can set your practice apart. But here's one that might surprise you. Maybe you haven't thought about it before, but the equipment you use can make a big difference. Not just for the patient experience, but for you and your team too. That's why I want to let you know about a new line of orthodontic equipment from ADEC. I visited their headquarters in Oregon earlier this year to take a sneak peek for myself, and I have to say, I was impressed. ADEC has manufactured award-winning dental equipment for 60 plus years, and they're bringing that same level of excellence to ortho. From comfortable, compact patient chairs to a versatile workstation and delivery to ergonomic dental stools, ADEC orthodontic equipment is designed for a smooth and easy workflow. Day after day, patient after patient, see the difference it can make for your practice. Click the link in our show notes to learn more about ADEC orthodontic solutions. I'm so excited to finally share something I've been working on behind the scenes. I've partnered with the amazing team at OrthoFi to create a brand new event designed specifically for early stage orthodontic practices. It's called Start to Strength, and it's happening June 11th through the 13th at the beautiful Gaylord Rockies Resort in Denver, Colorado. We'll be sharing some of my top strategies for building a solid foundation, scaling smart, and avoiding the costly mistakes I see too many practices make in those early years. We're intentionally keeping this event small with limited seats so it feels intimate, focused, and packed with real value. As a Hey Docs listener, you'll get $50 off your registration with code HeyDocs. Click the registration link in the show notes to register now. Again, that registration is HeyDocs to get $50 off. Dino, I am so excited to have you on the show again. I'm always looking forward to every time you're on. I'm like, okay, number one, I know we're going to have good conversation, and you are always going to deliver some good, important information that somebody has to hear and can take away with. So I just want to know, what have you been up to since the last time we talked?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I haven't stopped traveling. It's nonstop. Last month, I feel like I was on a plane every week, if not twice a week. It's been crazy. Plus, my wife and I, we bought a chiropractic office of our own, a practice in Chandler, Arizona. So that's the piece of it, being owners of practices now with employees and all the craziness. So it's been really interesting to incorporate a lot of the stuff that I teach my clients into our own practice, which has been a lot of fun. That, and just everybody knows, it's no big secret, my big hair transplant that I got going on. I got meniscus surgery a couple weeks ago. It's been nuts. Yeah, it's been a lot, Jill.
Yeah.
That's what's been going on.
And of course, nothing keeps you down. You're just moving right along.
I'm trying. Shannon won't let me stop. So that's what by the way, I hope you noticed, like, the purple. I have the purple for the Jill Allen podcast
I
on
did.
And everything. Like,
Thank you.
I don't have any hot pink, so I had to go with the purple.
No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that, because I think I've seen a pink shirt on you before.
I don't think I do have any more hot pinks. I had a hot pink before, but I don't think I have that one anymore. But yeah,
okay, you retired it and you didn't hold on to it just in case you'd be on the hanging out with Jill Allen.
That's right.
Let's talk a little bit about one of the things that you do that I thought would be really good for us to talk about, because I feel like so many doctors, especially going into a new year, are looking at, like, how can I figure out my marketing plan.
Yeah.
And everybody's starting off their year with, what am I going to do? What's my budget going to be? How do I bring not only new patients into my practice, but really how do I forge those relationships
Yep.
with dentists and different people in the community? And of course, I knew the right person to go to and who could help us with this. I want to talk today about your patient appreciation
Yep.
days and what that looks like, the events that you do, and how you help practices bring those to fruition and what that looks like.
Yeah, the premise of it for sure is referrals, right? Our bread and butter in our industry is you got to have referrals. It doesn't matter what the industry is. You want referrals, you want social proof, you want people to vouch for you. I had a great, as in an event years ago, and the guy said, nobody gets anywhere in this world without somebody vouching for them. And that's what referrals are. It's vouching for the great work that this doctor does, talking to a patient to say, hey, I need you to go and get this fixed. Go talk to this doctor. Unfortunately, I think a lot of times what ends up being is because we're not really on purpose about them, is that they end up being like, oh, here's 3 doctors you can go to. And it's really important for us to recognize how we can help those doctors make sure that we, as in whoever you are, doctor wise, ortho wise, is top of mind.
Yeah.
And you can only do that if you actually give them a reason to have you top of mind. Mm-hmm. And so over the last few years, I've done so many doctor appreciation events where they bring people in and they spend a lot of money on a hotel room and maybe a dinner, and they'll have some CE, and they'll have me come and do 90 minutes. Sorry, I'm getting a little foggy in my throat. 90 minutes or whatever for them, and make it fun and exciting or whatever. And I was sitting with one of the team members once, and I said, so what's your follow-up plan? And she goes, we put a lot of time and effort into this, and we hope to get 1 or 2 more referrals out of it. And I went, hope is not a business plan. Like, you can't do that. You got to actually be intentional about this. Yeah. And so we sat together and talked about, no, what's the follow-up? How are we going to be intentional about this? I'm sorry. You have to edit that out. That's good. I'm getting a major frog right there.
That's all right.
That I want people to be intentional when they're creating the event. And then during the event, how are they going to make the request of what to do? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the event, figure out, like, how are we going to follow up with this so it wasn't just a really fun night that we all got to hang out together, and be intentional about it. And so what I did is I actually created a blueprint that talks about how do you plan it out at the beginning, be intentional about that. What do you do during to make you shine and make it be extra special? And then at the end, of course, the follow-up. And this is all based upon a premise of this. There's a gentleman named Grant Cardone, who's a big, like, real estate guy, internet guy or whatever. And he has this phrase that he uses, which is best known beats best. And when you think about it, that's what marketing is. How do we become the best known in our area and stop worrying so much about, I'm better than them, so they should send it to me?
Sure.
That's fine. You can be the better. Let's just suppose everybody's the best at what they do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as much as when it comes to marketing, getting people to send people to you, because if you're not top of mind, even if you're the best, you need to be able to make yourself top of mind. So you got to be best known. And I think having a really intentional, really good, really powerful event that also makes people want to send people to you, it's just a no-brainer. And right now, more than ever, people need to do that. They got to be intentional about it. They can't just be like, we'll do a CE event and just keep us in your thoughts. So that doesn't work.
Yeah. And as I do, a lot of my podcasts are really for younger doctors and docs that are getting started. And I think that there's twofold to this, because there is, as a younger doc, what can you do? Mm-hmm. You're building that referral. But the other side of it is these docs that are maybe have taken over in our acquisitions, that where there is some referral patterns already in place, but they probably haven't been loved on the way they need to. Yep. They really haven't. Or my existing docs that are like, gosh, it's just a lot of work though. Are you telling me, Jill? And so curious, speaking to our docs that are maybe a little bit more established, and my ones that aren't just trying to forge relationships to even get a referral pattern going. What are some of the common mistakes that you see maybe practices make when they're trying to plan out these events, and which I know is why you wrote the blue plan, but the blueprint. But talk to me about that, because I think sometimes people don't even see what's in front of them as, ooh, you could be misstepping there.
The number one thing is just taking it for granted. Taking it for granted that you've been around and you've been friends with this person or whatever, or you do good work or whatever it is, and not actually being intentional about the relationship that you're building.
Yeah.
You got to think, man, people are not thinking about you as much as you're thinking about them in any situation. It's like going to a TC and saying to the TC, you need to follow up again. I don't want to bug them. They're not thinking about you. They've got lives. You are thinking about them way more often than they are. And you're doing a disservice if you're not letting and constantly reminding them of why they should be sending their patients to you. So that's one huge mistake. It's just getting complacent and just being like, oh, I'm not, we're friends, we're buddies, whatever. Number two is not actually being direct about it and saying, hey, here's the type of patients we love. We love it when you send us X and Y, and that way it makes it easy for them to know, oh, this is a perfect Jill patient. Oh, this is a perfect doctor patient. And there's tools out there nowadays that I am a huge fan of, like Bright Referral and stuff like that, actually helps people get those. And I've been a huge fan since day one of that thing, going, oh my gosh, this makes life so much easier.
Yep.
So not being intentional about that and realizing that you have to tell them, how do you want to other referrals? I'm sorry. When I first got in this industry and people were telling me about marketing, and they'd be like, yeah, we have a marketing team. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Tell me about your marketing. We take gifts to them every week or every month or whatever it is. We do deliveries. I said, what do you mean a delivery? What do you deliver? Oh, we take them little gifts. I was like, oh, so you're bribing them to remember you. Okay, I understand. That's not marketing. That's networking. That's continuing a connection and a conversation and a friendship. That's fine. That's good. But that's not marketing. Marketing is letting them know why they're sending it to you. You really want people who are only sending you people because you send them donuts on National Donut Day, which, by the way, every other referring orthodontist is sending to them as well. Like, you walk in these offices and you've got 3 dozen donuts here from National Donut Day. Yeah, the 3 other offices in the area send us over too. So what makes you special? Yeah. Another thing is not being personable about it and not actually making it intentional. And there are very simple ways that you can get better information from people. So every Christmas, Shannon and I will get from somebody a bottle of wine, if not multiple bottles of wine. And Jill, I don't like wine. I don't drink wine. I never have, never will. I don't like the stuff. Why are you sending me wine? Because it's what you're sending to everybody, and you don't know what my likes and dislikes are. If you're doing that to doctors, how does that make them feel that, oh, you haven't really been paying attention, or you don't really care, just because you got it in a bulk item thing? Dr. Robert Cialdini is one of the greatest marketers in the world when it comes to influence. And he talks about how people will remember you if you give them something that's unexpected. So don't just do it on National Donut Day. Do it on some other odd day or make it up, right?
Yeah.
They do love things that are unexpected. They love things that are personalized. Now, that can be with their actual name on it. Even if you handwrite their name on something, it now is theirs. It becomes their thing. If you're sending them over your business swag, like, how many doctors are walking around wearing your business name hat on it, or team members are wearing your business t-shirt? Do something that's personalized to them and makes them feel good. And number 3 is unexpected. Has something that they were not expecting this and during this time. So it's so important for doctors to get that. And I just see it becoming complacent and lazy with it. And yet these are the greatest sources of a referral. If you think about it this way, let's just say we have 15 offices. You invite 15 offices to an event. It's a good size of people. Let's just say average 10 people in each office. You're talking 150 people. It's a big deal. It's an investment. I get it. But if you can help people increase those referrals to you by even 10% in a year, you're paying for that thing. That you should be happily paying for that every year.
Yep.
And making it a very big event for them. So I think just misjudging that is really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I completely agree with you on that. And I do think that there are levels to this. And this is really marketing 2.0, right? Yeah. Like, understanding that it's bigger. And again, I'm going to say for my startup docs, we have to start somewhere, right? You guys have to start somewhere. I do believe that this is like understanding that it's bigger than that. And as you go and grow and get going, you can't just be like, well, I dropped off the donuts for this month. I remember so many times when I would walk into practices of existing practices, and so tell me, same thing, tell me what you guys do for marketing. Oh, every second Tuesday of the month, we go into these 30 offices. And I'm like, let's look at your referral. Oh, half of these don't even refer to you. It doesn't matter. And I'll talk to their team and they're like, yeah, they don't even make eye contact with us anymore.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah, I've heard that too.
And you're still doing it.
Yep. It's like, what a bad relationship that would be. Like in real life, if that was like somebody you're recording, they don't even pay attention to me anymore, but I still, like, you're a stalker. Stop it.
Exactly.
I want to talk though real quick about the startups, because I think there's actually opportunity here that I think a lot of people miss out on. I saw a news broadcast years ago, and I use this example quite a bit, where there was a new female dentist opening up her practice in a small town area. I don't remember where it was, but middle of the country somewhere. And she actually had the news there doing a news report on her. Now, first of all, great for her PR team that were able to get that going.
Right.
Really smart. But one of the things that they were doing the report on was this new dentist in town, but she's already booked out for 3 months after she opened. So she hadn't opened yet. And so the reporter asked her, like, wow, how did you do that? How did you get that many people already booked out? And she said, what I did was during the construction of my practice, every Friday night, I would have wine and cheese night in my office. And I invite local women to just come and have wine and cheese with me on Friday nights. And I did it during the last 2 months of construction. What was great was I would be able to ask them questions like, what do you think about this wallpaper versus this wallpaper, or this color versus this color, or these sconces versus that sconce? And now all of those women got emotionally invested inside of my practice. And so therefore, they then wanted to sign up and be a patient of mine. You can do that with also local other dentists in the area. Yep. Hey, ask their opinions, get them involved. People support what they help create. And so if you can get them involved in that, so even as a startup, it's crucial to think, how can I make them feel that I appreciate them? I know I'm the new kid on the block, but I'm probably going to give them more attention than anybody else if I'm intentional about it.
Yeah. I love that you did circle back around for that, because that is what I do not want my startups thinking is, oh, I don't have to really do any of this right now. You have to be so intentional about every single thing that you're doing. So I want to circle back around to the event that you're talking about. And I think one of the hardest things is for all of us, it's hard to do the hard work. And it's easy to use that excuse. It's just so overwhelming. Really, it's hard enough to figure out how to schedule my days and to run my office. And now you're telling me it's almost like planning a wedding. I've got to plan this event, and I've got to think about food, and I've got to think about inviting people and putting myself out there. And so I'm wondering if you can talk to us a little bit about that. And what are you suggesting for doctors when they're looking at setting up a program like this and managing it to being budget friendly and just kind of all those things?
Let's talk budget. First of all, you do need to know what your budget's going to be upfront, and you need to be willing to spend money on it.
Yeah.
You need to be willing. And so budget and time are the first two things I look at. Give yourself enough time to market it. Don't try to do this in the next month or two. And number two, make sure you have a budget depending on where you are, and it can grow throughout the years, obviously, but you can do a lot with a little bit of a budget if you are smart about it. You don't have to do the full dinner. You could do a cocktail hour, do just hors d'oeuvres. You don't have to do the whole team. You can just do the doctors at first. You could just do the hygienist and some of the other team members if you want. You can pick and choose. So first is really deciding what type of event do I want. And I would say, based upon where you are in your career and what you want the outcome to be, is going to determine that a lot. Hey, if you're a startup, or if you're somebody that's only like a couple years in and you don't have the budget for it, okay, you can still make it look good. Yeah. And now the thing about it is that it's not about spending a lot of money on the venue or even the food, but it's about being very specific about, how am I going to make these people feel appreciated and how I care about them. And then it's the time, effort, energy into that. The other thing I would say after budget and how much time you're going to give yourself to do it is get a committee together to do it. One of you know this, the great book, Who Not How, right?
Yep.
Who is going to help me do this? Not how am I going to figure out the time to do it? And you can hire people on a short-term basis too, even if they're not in your office. You can hire an event planner, an event organizer to say, hey, I've got this event coming up. I need you to find me a venue. This is what I want. This is my vision. This is what I'm looking for. And then let them be the person in charge. You don't have to be in charge of all of that stuff. And give them the budget. And by the way, most professional event planners are really good about finding the things you want in a budget, because this is what they do all the time.
Yeah.
Your office manager might be really good at putting together parties, but they might not be the best negotiators. I'll give you an example. I actually was just talking to a company they had me out in 2002, and they are a company that does a 2-nighter. They have so many offices that they refer to them that they can't have just one night. So they had me there do the same presentation 2 nights in a row. I was talking to her about it, and she said, we're thinking about doing it at this hotel. Is it okay? They're going to get my hotel room. And I said, they said, it's okay if you stay there, or do you have a specific hotel you have to stay in? I'm like, yeah, I'm not that high maintenance. If it has a bed and the shower, I'm good. And I said, if you go to the hotel and you're spending so much money on food and the venue, they'll probably give you the room for free if you ask them for it. Matter of fact, you can probably get a couple rooms for free. And she's really? I was like, oh yeah, because they're not making a ton of money off the room itself. They're making money off of your catering and all the other stuff. So negotiate that in it. And this is the type of stuff that a real event planner, or somebody who's been doing this for a long time, knows to ask for. We're nothing against your office manager helping you out and put it together. I know it's real easy to be like, hey, she's already on the payroll, so I'll just have her do it. But get the committee together, even if you've got a great office manager, so that everybody can have some brainstorming ideas of what to do. Take it off of your plate.
And now, a word from the sponsors who make this podcast possible. Hey, docs. If you want to have a great business, the right practice management software is essential. But some can be slow, outdated, and lacking good support. That's why I recommend Greyfinch to all orthodontists. It's the fastest, most reliable, and most secure platform to grow your business and improve your efficiency. It's completely web-based, so you can run your entire practice anywhere and from any device with no servers, no downloads, or hidden fees. They even have the most helpful and responsive support team around. Right now, Greyfinch is giving a $500 discount to our listeners. Visit greyfinch.com/Jill Allen to learn more and see why it's one of the fastest growing providers in America. Hey docs, let's talk about Smile Suite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud Smile Suite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. Smile Suite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with Smile Suite, because every smile deserves a suite of excellence.
The best events I've ever been to have people who that is their primary job is to make sure that this event happens.
Yeah. I could not agree with you more. And I think that it is very easy for doctors. I see it all the time. We want to manage everything. It's number one, it's just tough to give that away. And then the secondary piece sometimes is to spend the money that you need to spend on this, because this does land somewhere on your P&L. This is marketing. And I love what you said. This is truly marketing. We're marketing out there to put on our referral appreciation event. And I know we're not buying them for their referrals, but we are truly putting on an event to appreciate what they have done for you up to this point and hope that you, like you said, you stay top of mind for them going into the future.
And in my opinion, it's way more authentic. It's way more, it's not manipulative. I'm sorry. I think the deliveries every week, like I said, it's a subtle bribe. Hey, we're still here. Send us your people and I give you a donut. This is more, no. And by the way, you need to do it correctly. I think one of the things a lot of people do is just have an event and then hope that they get those referrals. If I'm a doctor that's a referring doctor, I'm going to be sure to refer you more if you can show me the people that I've referred to you and the outcome that you were able to help them get. Hopefully I've seen some of that because they're my patients. I see them every 6 months for their cleaning. But there's a lot of docs out there where if you're not showing off those patients, which is one of the pieces that I have in the book during is make sure you're showing off cases, even if it's a poster around the room of a before and after and a quote from one of the kids that was like, thank you, Dr. Dino, for sending me to Dr. Jill. My smile, I've never loved it more. And you see the before and after on that. I've seen people literally take pictures with the picture of, look at, this is our patient, because you're showing it off. That's showing them the appreciation of how much we care. I have some offices do awards and give a thank you award and plaque for sending the referrals. And the people who sent the most referrals that year get a really nice designer thing that they're going to want to put in their front office to say, we're a top referring office for Dr. Dino Orthodontics, because it's just showing them how much we appreciate you on it. And I think it's way more powerful than, great, you gave me donuts, or you sent me a pumpkin on Halloween.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So let's talk about this blueprint that you have and just how docs can find out about using this. And is this something that it's like a one and done? And okay, I did it once. Now I have to try and figure out something else to do later. Talk me through that and what that looks like.
So it's basically, it's a blueprint for, you can use it over and over again. Matter of fact, there's a checklist inside of it for before, what other things I think about before, during, check that off, and then after, check it off. It's 31 pages. It's color. It's got a ton of different ideas and examples in it. And it's free. I created it. It's free. I have it online, and it's basically, here's how I said it for free. I think there's value in it for sure. So it's $4. Unless you refer a friend to it and you tell a friend about it. You just put your friend's doctor's information in it, their email and their name, and it will send an invite to them to say, hey, would you like to look at this? I don't capture any of that until they come back and say, yeah, I'd want one of those. And that way it's free as long as you share it with somebody else.
Yep.
And it literally has, step by step, it has examples of different invitations, from digital invitations to physical invitations to email invitations. Like, all of this is out there. And I put all these examples from stuff I've seen through the years. I'll give you an example. I was at Dr. Holliday's office in Hawaii, and they were doing a doctor appreciation event, small, intimate evening. And they had done something. I went, this is so smart, is going back to what I talked about Cialdini. They actually put on each plate a little kind of business card size card with a QR code. And it said, scan this and answer before dinner. And you scanned it, and it took you to 20 questions about you. Do you like sports? Who's your favorite team? What's your favorite hobby? What's your favorite alcoholic drink? Just all these things.
Love it.
So they were creating a database.
Yep.
So when they go and do these, so this is why it makes people, oh, you want to know more about me? This is about me. Oh, that makes me feel appreciated. So being able to be very, and I've been using the word a lot, but intentional about this is crucial.
Yeah.
And not just, oh, we had a good time, and oh, we had an 80s theme, and oh, we got some cool pictures. This is, I'll give you another example. Take away doctor appreciation. This happens in patient appreciation events too. It baffles my mind that we're going to have a patient appreciation event and we're not doing everything we can to get new leads at that patient appreciation event. Like, we hope they'll bring a friend and tell them about us. No, we don't hope. We reward them for bringing friends. And let's just say I have a doctor who does a water park thing every year, and it's a big deal. It's awesome. Cool. They can bring a friend, but that friend has to have a permission slip because of insurance reasons. And on that permission slip, it's going to have mom and dad sign it saying, you agree to being that we will solicit to you and we will add you to our email lists for our email campaign. Just put that in there. If they're going to be and reward your kid, that patient for bringing somebody, everybody who signs up, you're going to get a ticket into winning the Game Boy.
Yep.
Is it Game Boy still a thing anymore? I don't know.
Yeah. Or Switch.
Xbox, so
Yeah.
Switch, yeah, okay. You're going to get that. But then if you bring a friend, they get entered and you get another entrance. You bring 3 friends, all 3 of them get entered and you get 3 entrances. This makes people want to do it.
Yes.
So it's just the same thing as we got to be intentional about how we're going to get doctors to want to refer us. And one last thing on that, during the event, I know my job is part of that is I'm going to end the event because people remember the last thing that you did more than they remember the first thing you did. So at the very end of the event, I have a very specific place where I talk about my journey with my dentist referring me to an oral surgeon who referred me to then my orthodontist. And I tell that whole journey. And then I make sure that in that place, I have a placeholder for myself knowing that I'm going to edify my client and say, so all of you doctors out here, you dentists and you oral surgeons, the reason why you send it to your patients to Dr. Jill is because they understand the power of things like my story. They will treat your patients like this. You already know I'm edifying them like crazy. I do that. But the doctors need to edify themselves too. The doctors need to say, this is why you want to send your patients to us. When they come to us, you're going to get this and this. Never assume that they get it. Yeah. Never assume. Just tell them over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dino, what I love about what you do is really help us in practices think outside of the box, because I do feel like we just get so stuck in this. We are such a fun industry, and yet we're just stuck in this weird cycle where somehow we aren't worthy to value marketing. We aren't worthy to ask for, in a genuine way, those referrals and stand up for ourselves and say, yes, absolutely, you should be referring to me. And here's why. And I think it's just such an interesting thing. And I'm not quite sure where it has come from within our industry, but it's where we work so hard to be a specialist, and yet we grovel sometimes.
No, that's really a good point, right? It's like you're a specialist at what you do. I don't know if you've ever seen that speech that I have where I stand up at first and I say, my name is Dino Watt and I'm the best in the world at what I do. And I'm standing in front of a group of people who I believe are the best in the world at what they do, or at least I hope they think so. And the point as I go into that is, man, every parent needs to believe that you believe you're the best in the world for their child.
Yes.
Every doctor that you're asking to refer it needs to believe that you're the best for their patients, because it's going to reflect on them. I thank Dr. Johnson, my dentist growing up, for referring me to Dr. Farash, who got my braces. Because without that referral, I wouldn't have gotten my teeth straightened and all that stuff. So having the ability, it's so funny because in some ways, no offense to any doctors listening, but in some ways, there's a bit of an ego going on because you're a doctor. And it's definitely there sometimes when you compare yourself to like general dentist or whatever, we're specialist. Okay, cool. Yep. Then why don't you use that when you're talking about the confidence, not ego, but confidence of, listen, this is why you need to send your patients to me. This is why I'm your best resource for orthodontics. I know you've got a lot of options out there, but I'm going to prove to you why this. And if you ever feel there's a challenge, then I will take care of that. But you have to be willing to have that strength and that boldness. Best known beats best.
Yeah, I love that. I really think that's such a great thing for us to keep in mind when we're thinking about that, because that really is what it comes down to. And there is a lot of competition. We know that out there, and everybody's going to do it a little bit differently, but gosh.
Jill, let me just tell you too on that too. I want to interject here for a moment. When you talk about competition, your competition is a big benefit to you if you know how to use it. For example, I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to play both sides of the fence for just a moment.
Perfect.
You are a DSO, or you've just partnered with the DSO. That gets out there, and people out there going like, "Oh, they're corporate now. Oh, they're corporate. Okay, man, I want to send to my buddy who's still struggling on his own. They're corporate." You don't think that's out there? That's totally out there. So now you've got to be out there saying, hey, we are partnered with a big corporation. And what that does, it allows us to be this much better, and we can do this better, and we can serve that better. You got to be in front of that. I did that last summer with Smile Doctors. There was a team in Texas, and they had me come out, and they were like, yeah, we know it's gotten around there. There are some people who aren't referring to us because we're part of a big company now. And good for the person who put it on. She was just an amazing organizer of an event. And she stood in front, she said, we want you all to know who we are versus who you might think we are. We are still this small town company. We are still led by this most amazing doctor. We are still this, whatever. It was great. Okay, now the opposite side of that. If you are a company where there are DSOs around you or people who purchased or partnered with DSOs, that's your in. That's your ability to be like, hey, we're still owned and operated by your local, and you can use that to leverage. Every Batman needs a Joker.
Yeah.
Every Superman needs kryptonite. So whatever yours is or could be, you need to utilize that and be like, so this is why we're good or we're better, or this is why you still want to refer to us. Utilize that.
Yeah.
And it's okay. You're not putting anybody down. You're elevating yourself. I don't believe in the idea of, if you want to be the tallest building in the city, to knock down all the other buildings. I believe you just build a bigger building. But that's how you do it, is you have to look at what's actually there and be like, oh yeah, we're this, we're that. Tell people who you are.
You've got such good points on that. And I do feel like for a lot of doctors, we just don't do that. We just don't tell them who we are. We may think it, we may say it in our practice. We may be that those may be our values or our this or our that. But when it actually comes to conveying that message, especially in a marketing way, I do believe we fall short a lot, and therefore a lot of times we'll see that flatness in our marketing, and like, where's that return? I'm spending all this money, but I'm not seeing any return on it.
Jill, I'm sure you've seen this before. I've had this a couple of times where I'll ask doctors, like you said earlier, okay, so who are you referring doctors, and let's look at the numbers of how much they've referred to you. And I have had people who are like, wow, this guy is my friend. We hang out all the time, and they're number 10 on my list for referrals, or they haven't referred in a long time. Or the people who are going, wow, they used to refer to us all the time, and now they don't refer to us at all. Maybe you should ask why. Maybe you should go and be like, hey, I've noticed that you haven't referred to us as much. How can we earn your business? What is it that we can do to make sure? This is crucial to getting those referrals. And for me, the doctor appreciation event is also another easy way to get people to try you out again.
Sure.
Like those people who have slowed down in their referrals, or those people who maybe have never referred to you, to be able to go to them and say, hey, I know that we have not been your referrer of choice, but here's what we want to do. I want you to come to this party, and we want to thank you and celebrate you anyway, just for being in our industry and just for doing such an amazing job. And maybe it'll change your mind, and you'll be able to see what great work we do. And then you'll want to refer people to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst thing they could say is no.
That is so true.
They're not going to write a Google review about how you asked them out to a party and they didn't come.
Exactly.
They're just going to say no.
No.
And you're like, okay.
No. Yeah.
Guess what? Moving on.
Yep. Exactly. Send them away with love and find another doc that, that wants to come to the party. Yeah. This has been great. And this is exactly what I wanted to talk about, because I feel like, again, so many people are at the beginning of the year, that first quarter, they're out there looking at, okay, how am I going to do it different this year? Or how am I going to be able to get a different return on what I have done previously? And I think we should always be looking at that, right?
Sure.
What can I do differently? What can I do to not become stagnant at what I'm doing? And I think we would both agree, you have got to shake that sugar tree sometimes. You got to keep things moving.
Tree. Is that a thing? Is that something people say? Shake that sugar tree?
Don't tell Shannon that.
Is that like you and a Doug? That's a you and a Doug thing. That's not a real. I've never heard that before in my life.
Oh, whatever. But
shake that sugar tree.
It's out of a country. It's a country song. I lied. Anyways, you got me blushing here, Dino. I think that my message was going to be, we definitely just can't do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result.
Yeah.
We've got to really be intentional. And I really do. I know that's been the buzzword of the industry for a while, but we really do have to be intentional about what we're doing going forward and how we're spending the money, and be okay with really going out there and being okay with asking for the results that we're looking for versus just like playing small in that space and be like, maybe they'll refer to us if I'm just really nice.
It's like in anything. Are you going to invest in something? Like,
Yeah.
you got to not think about the spending of money. Look, to have me come out, it costs you money. There's an investment there. But you have to look at the investment of what's that ROI. And I'm a big fan of looking at ROI stuff. So is this going to give me an ROI? Not if you're just going to be like, we'll have a party and hopefully things happen. If you're deliberate about what you do, beginning, middle, and end, and after, then you'll get a better ROI. And if not, you'll be able to look at the numbers to figure out what happened so you can do it the next time.
Yeah.
It's all about testing and trial and error and testing.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody wants to find out more. I know you said there's a site that they can go to and put in information. What's going to be the best way that they can either just get the blueprint or if they just want to call you and be like, okay, Dino, I want to talk to you and find out maybe how I can do something like this and need more than a blueprint, need a real voice. And
that's something that, like, when people hire me, that's one of the great things about it is that I'm like, I'll give you the blueprint, but we have meetings about what are you thinking? What are you doing? Because I'm going to think on a different scale that I'm not in the same jar as they are. Yeah. So I'll be able to say, what do you think about this? Have you thought about that? Let's try this. So if they go to Dr. Event Blueprint, so dreventblueprint.com, they can see the blueprint there. They can put their name in there. They can download it for free, or they can pay the $34 or whatever it is to get that. I don't want their $34, honestly. I want them to send it to a friend and send it to a friend and send it to a friend, because I think the more people that know about it, the better it becomes. And then, if people just want to reach out to me personally, it's dinowattconsulting.com. My consulting whole website up there. They can reach out to me at dino@dinowatt.com and we can have that conversation. It's been really interesting this last, I want to say, since the beginning of the year. I've probably had at least 2 or 3 conversations around this per week. So what I'm feeling, and I don't know if you're feeling this too, and with your doctors, is that last year was a challenging year for a lot of people, right? Yep. And spending money was a bit of a challenge. But I've already seen an uptick. January for most of my doctors is really good. I'm seeing an uptick of hope and of opportunity, and people are like, okay, this is the year I need to do it. And maybe you don't do it every year. Maybe you do it every other year. Yep. But you have to put something out there to let people know you are there. Yeah. It's just crucial. Yeah. And I would say this too. Sometimes we have to spend money to make money, and investing in an event like this and investing in an opportunity to forge relationships, maybe revive relationships, is just something as business owners we just have to do. And I will venture to say, Jill, anybody that's listening to this, I'm positive there are people listening. I tried one of those and I spent 25 grand and I got nothing in return. And I promise you, it is not about the thing that you did. It's literally about the way you set it up and the way you followed up. Yes. Yep. 100% every time. Yep. Because if you did it, and only if you had 5 practices show up or 10 practices show up, if you do it right, you're going to increase those referrals. Yep, for sure. Dino, this has been great. And you know how I like to finish up Hey Docs with a little speed round. Are you ready? Ready? All right. Shake your sugar. Shake your sugar tree. All right, here we go. All right. What is one daily habit or ritual that helps you stay productive or balanced? You know what? I've been really meditating a lot lately. Nice. Yeah, a lot of Mind Valley stuff. Gaia is a great app that's on my phone. I've been doing a lot of meditation, so that's been great. That's great. All right. What is your go-to strategy for getting unstuck when you have a tough problem? Shannon, it really is. It's like, I'll just be like, hey, how am I saying this? And just having somebody who is not in my world can just go, what about this? And what about that? And sometimes I feel silly because I'm like, oh, that was right there. But everybody needs a Shannon. Yeah. Like, you need a strategy. You need somebody in your life that you can just be like, hey, what about this? Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. One more. If you could add one unconventional perk
to everyday workplace, what would it be?
Unconventional perk? Oh my goodness. Unconventional perk to an everyday workplace. Just because I like them. Dance breaks.
I love it.
Like that,
Yep.
like random dance breaks where it's okay, a certain song comes on, everybody knows they got to dance to it
Yep.
and get up. Yeah.
Yep. I love that. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
All righty. And then one last one to finish it off. What is one business idea you've seen recently that you wish you had thought of?
One business idea that I've seen recently that I wish I would have thought of. Geez, I watch Shark Tank just about every week religiously, and that's always one. It's not necessarily that I wish I thought of it. I'm like, how could that's so stupid? How did I not think about that?
Yep.
It was a shower thing. I don't know if you've ever seen the shower one where it's basically a hose that hooks up to the end of a shower and you can wash things off like your dog and whatever. And the lady got this deal with Lori Grenier, and I was just like, what are you? What? I think way too deep about stuff. I need to think a little bit lighter about it. So maybe that's the business thing that I was like, man, I wish I would have done that. There's a lot of ones that I'm like, I wish I would have thought of that.
For sure. Dino, as always, thanks for being on Hey Docs. And I do hope that some of my docs out there, I agree with you. I think this year is just starting off better. And I think why not invest in yourself? Why not invest in your practice? And I think that what you have set out here is something that I think doctors should be really paying attention to and thinking about doing for their.
So here's the truth, Jill. If they don't, their competition will.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. It's true.
Someone's going to do it. Might as well be you.
Yep, absolutely. That's a good note to leave it on. Yeah. If you don't, somebody else will. Thanks, Dino. Thanks for being on.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
See ya.